I wanted to just take a second to talk to you about free speech and how important free speech is in America. And it's under tremendous threat right now. Okay. Big tech companies are taking the opportunity to censor individuals. This is fascist. And don't believe me? You don't want to believe me? I'll just read some of the quotes from our founding fathers who founded the country with the idea of free speech, the idea of true progress. Freedom of speech is a principal pillar of a free government. When this support is taken away, the constitution of free society is dissolved and tyranny is erected in its ruins. Republics and limited monarchies derive their strength and vigor from a popular examination into the action of the magistrates. Essentially, what that means is Benjamin Franklin. Essentially, what that means is once freedom of speech is taken away from one of us, from two of us, from 10 of us, in its place is a loss of free society and it is replaced by tyranny. Think about what that means. John Adams on free speech. But none of the means of information are more sacred or have been more cherished with more tenderness and care by the settlers of America than the press. We have freedom of the press. And now that freedom, which is originally extended to the press, has been extended to every American because we have a voice now. You cannot suppress our voice and still have freedom because at some point they are going to come for you. You think by oppressing somebody else through their speech that you can then lift someone else up. You're wrong. The liberty of the press is essential to the security of our state. John Adams. Our liberty depends on the freedom of the press that cannot be limited without being lost. Congress, this is the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now, the argument comes when it comes to businesses, businesses have the right, okay, so does any of the social media companies, because it's a private business, they have the right to not do business with somebody. The question comes in, which is the 230 question, which is, do they have the same protections as being a public forum that a private company would have because they're a public forum? And they get those protections. So if they are a public forum making money off of you and I from advertising, do we have a right to free speech? And if we are choosing people that we censor individually based off of how we feel about them, then we have a bigger problem. And what are we going to have? Multiple different groups that have their own server systems, that have their own platforms, and people are more divided, more apart, more tribal than ever? Or do we allow people to speak freely, speak their mind, and then educate? Eliminating free speech, eliminating people's right to speech in a public forum, not talking about a private environment, I'm not talking about behind closed doors, I'm talking about in a public forum, that elimination of free speech is a problem. and is going to have ramifications for everyone, whether we are conservative or liberal or left or right or everything in between. And we know that it's the left that's primarily doing this, but it's going to come back on every single one of us, regardless of your affiliation. The objective, by eliminating free speech of one, is to put fear in another. Putting fear in another then creates control. Free speech frees you of control. We'll talk to you next time on a Success for Life podcast.